communication strategist.
Yes.
Talk to us about how this trip has been communicated right from the beginning.
Well, you know, I'll talk about the communication on two sides. One on the sides of the United States, then on the side of Kenya.
Precisely.
The United States, in just simply inviting President Ruto to a state dinner, the first for an African president since 2008, and that was John Kufuor. And John Kufuor was major because he was basically redoing the Ghanaian economy. He was pulling up a Ghanaian renaissance, if you will. So it was a critical moment. And of course, this was a time when Obama was coming in and things like that. So it was an interesting time. For Biden to do so, one, during a campaign year,
right?
Okay. Two, and to give Kenya the status and the pomp he's given it, it is a big statement. It's the biggest compliment the United States can give an African country. Yes. Number two is, I think the Republic of Kenya underplayed the importance of this trip.
Walicheza chini. Why?
First, I think it is because they wanted it to have the impact it has had. Because today has been big. Right? I don't think there's a single person who can draw a point away from William Ruto today. Today, he has been president for everyone in the deepest part of Azimio to the most hustler of the hustler nation. Simply because everything that he's been talking about has been talked about and delivered to the Kenyan people. If you just think about it, $1 billion in extra investments, extra infrastructure, extra help for the country of Kenya, plus being recognized as a strategic security partner.
That's huge.
That's huge. It's unheard of. This is the first country that I've heard of in Africa to get such recognition, and there are only 16 across the world.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be delving deeper into the significance of that. Yeah. But also just in the run-up to this event, talk to us about the choice of delegation.
Yes.
You know, the Kenyan delegation there. A few criticisms on who was brought along, but also just on the whole, what is that group supposed to represent? You know, and did it succeed in representing that?
To be honest with you, when I look at the delegation and I see Duale, he needs to be there. He's the CS for Defense. I see Mudavadi. He's not only Prime Secretary, but he's the CS of Foreign Affairs. You look at Kimani Ichung'wah. He is the leader of the majority in Parliament. He is the one who's going to execute this agenda. And I can go on and on. I have not seen any senior politician who's not supposed to be there. And contrary to other pictures, when you look at the picture of the meeting today, you see a very balanced team. You can see the opposites sitting each other. You don't see a bloated cabinet representation from Kenya. You don't see unnecessary people. You see even the security advisor, former CS,
Monica
Juma.
And experienced hand.
Yes. So in terms of the team that the president chose, I would be at pains to say that he chose someone who was not supposed to be there. Even the celebrities I'm seeing that went to the various studios, those are the people who do need to go there. It's unlike previous times where people who are not running for athletics were wearing athletic gigs. Yes. Yeah. But at the end of it all, even if you want to nitpick, what the president has achieved today is something that for him and his policy can only be equated to the time when Kibaki got funding back to Kenya. It can be equated to the time when the Chinese decided to pay for SGR and other projects. It is that big. It is that significant. And just to put it into perspective, the amount of funding that the president has gotten today is equivalent to roughly 1% of our GDP.
That much?
Remember, our GDP is just about $110 billion. So $1 billion is 10%, is 1%.
Significant.
Yes, it's significant. So in terms of raw numbers, if you look at the jobs and whatever it is that you want to look at, President Ruto, his delivery has overshadowed anything else that you might want to nitpick about it.
Speaking of nitpicking, yes, or perhaps just different opinions, yes, earlier on today, some of your colleagues in the, have opined that, hey, the Americans are good at making promises. I'm literally quoting one good professor. Says the Americans are good at making promises and very poor at keeping them. What would you say to that?
There's a difference between a promise that is discussed on phone. There's a difference between a promise that is being discussed at a departmental level where Foreign Affairs is talking about it, and there's a difference between a promise that is made at a state dinner and a president's seat. Those are not
for the eyes of the world.
Yes, those are not promises that are likely to be backtracked, unless you want to say that you're talking about the possibility of Trump pulling back on those particular deals. And I'll tell you he won't.